You told a story where you guys had to go pick up Mary J in the middle of the night.
Oh yeah,
or something happened.
Yeah, KC and JoJo and Mary was a couple, but they both were wilding out back then. They had a song they were touring. If you think you're lonely now, that's what KC and then she had I'm going down, off that soundtrack, off the Waiting to Excel soundtrack. So they were promoting those two songs and they were touring. So they used to come out to California all the time and hang with us and, be out here. They used to perform at the Grand Slam at Prince Old Club down in LA. And they were down here and they must have got into a fight, because, when you're doing drugs and alcohol, good things usually don't happen. They got into a fight, got into it. Somehow she called Pop, because her and Pac was on the down low cool. And Pac, we had to run over to the Peninsula Hotel. And I remember, I always say she was jumping out of a window, but now I don't think she was jumping out of the window as I think about it. She was just running down the side. The Peninsula is on and has a little street on the side. And she was running down the side street and jumped in the car right quick and jumped in the car and Pac picked her up and took her off. But her and Casey had just had some domestic violence shit going on.
Suge shows up to the movie set of Straight Outta Compton. What was he going there for?
Anything that I speak on that is secondhand because I wasn't around Suge at the time. But I've known that he was getting phone calls from Kenya and Sharita. Kenya was working on the set of Straight Outta Compton.
Who's Kenya?
Dad's ex-wife or baby mama.
Okay.
She's been doing some great interviews on the Art the Dialogue station. And she's like a stylist in the business. And she was telling them, hey man, to Sharita, who's Suge's ex-wife, they're sure portraying Suge a lot in this movie. Suge got a big part in this NWA movie. So I'm sure Sharita called Suge and was like, hey, they playing you a lot, egging him on or whatever. And he went down there to confront him about it. Because then, he had lost Death Row. And Suge trying to get money however he can. And he went up there and talked to Cube. And Cube was like, dog, I got you. We're going to look out. We're going to look out. So Suge was leaving. But now Bone, who was hired to mainly keep Suge away, who wasn't around, left or whatever for whatever reason, he's like, dude came up here? He did what? Oh, get dude up here. Or call him. And that's when he reached out to Terry and they met up. And he felt, in my mind, I think he felt like disrespected, like, you about to cause me to lose my job, because I'm supposed to be protecting them and all of that. So I got to do this to keep my reputation, as an enforcer on these movies and production sets. Because he got them on lock. I mean, pretty much you don't do no gang scenes or in L.A. without having Bone go and holler at that particular area, being Mexicans or the black gangs. And he can go and work out a deal with them to make sure it's cool for that production company, because you know what it costs you just to bring out your little production. So could you imagine a movie production, what it costs, and to go there and you got all gang members up there tripping and stuff? So now they pay these guys to go out and scout it and advance it to make sure that, it's going to be all good. And that's what Bone does in the industry. And does a good job at it. Hats off to him.
Suge gets the call from Terry, and he goes over there?
He goes over there because he's cool with Terry.
Him and Terry were good friends,
good
right?
Friends. He's cool with Terry. Who would ever thought Bone would have walked up and started swinging on Suge like he did?
Did they have any issues or anything prior to that?
Before then, we had some run-ins with him and all of that. But, he's a Pyru and a blood dude and not fear of Suge. And Suge the same way. Yeah. They never really had no reason to go at each other like that. But, in Bone mind is, nigga, you messing up my money. It's my business. That's how I pay my bills. You made me look bad. kind of made him look like he left knowing Suge was coming so he could push up on Ice Cube and them. You know how people think when you ain't there and this shit all of a sudden go down.
Right.
Wait a minute, nigga, I hired you to do this, but you wasn't there.
Oh,
I get the bag for not being with Pac, or even though my job ain't to be with Pac or be a security, you wasn't there. You was at the Club 662. And then that's when some shit go down, but you never there. Now it'll make you look.
Man. And then so Bone just takes off on him.
You walk up. We see it in the video.
Yeah.
You would never believe it if you didn't have the video footage. Thank God for the video footage, because I would have never believed somebody just walked up to this car and just starts socking on Suge Knight like that.
And then he backs up, kind of runs him over, and then goes again. And
That's an unfortunate situation, man.
Yeah,
unfortunate for Suge and his family, but more so for Terry Carter and his family.
Yeah, man. I thought he would have a good self-defense, because it was like it seemed like you could make a reasonable argument that you were scared for your life.
Correct.
But
twice, see that's the problem, where he went forward twice. If it would only happen that one time, no case would have ever been filed. Right. It's that second action that made the case get filed. And him being who he was.
Yeah, it seemed like, they wanted him to.
Yeah, of course.
I'm sure they've been wanting Suge for a long time.
I mean, and they done gave him passes. He could have got struck out when he beat up that dude in the marijuana dispensary. There's an incident at the car wash where he did the same thing. There's a couple other incidents that he done did where he could have been violated. I mean, they was about to get him on that deal, but they gave him bail on that, on the camera incident. From taking it from the paparazzi.
What happened with that situation?
Well, they merged them all together. That's why he ended up taking that deal, because he had 3 separate cases.
Cat Williams, right?
Huh?
He had a situation with Cat Williams?
That was the
dispensary?
lady with that was the lady with the camera.
Okay.
The paparazzi lady. Then he had the incident with the director dude, Gary Davis, where he was supposed to have been threatening him, where they had him on tape threatening him. And then he had the incident with Terry Carter and Bone. And so he had, and they could have tried him twice on each of those 3 cases, and he would have had to win 6 times. He had to win.
And he was with a public defender too at this point, right? Because they got him with witness tampering. They were accusing him of.
Well, his previous 2 attorneys, that got rid, but they weren't no good. They were never going to be the ones to try the case anyway. They just run and Suge like to play attorney, so he gets people that he can control to go do this, and they'd be like, okay, Suge. Still the type to be like, no, Suge, this ain't how law work. And that's why he lost so many attorneys, because Suge be trying to, this is going to be like this, it's going to be like, and they'd be like, no, it's not going to be like this if I'm your attorney. These are people with professions, that have history, that ain't not going to jeopardize their name or their profession for his bullshit.
Around what year do you think he'll be coming home?
2033, 2034.
That's soon.
30, not 20.
Right. Well, 13 years, he got 28. That's only 13, 14 years from now.
Yeah, he'll be 70, whatever 70, make him, he's 54 now, so 16 years.
Oh, okay. 16.
About 16 years. The websites say 2037 or 2034.
But I think you mentioned he gets like double time.
Yeah,
when he was in
so he
county.
only have 16 years to do from the time when he convicted sometime in 2018. So
have you talked to him since he's been locked up?
One time since he's.
How's he holding up?
I talked to Rick, the guy that kind of in charge of doing all of his stuff daily. Matter of fact, an hour or 2 before we did this interview. And so Suge was back to himself over the phone, but He's back on the phones and stuff. So he's back to himself.
Okay. All right.
Got his health right, which is the main thing.
Oh yeah, because from the gunshot wounds, he was having a lot
The blood
of
clots and all of that, and he got a bad case of diabetes, which messed with his vision and all that type of stuff.
So he's got all that figured out?
Yeah. So you see pictures of him now, and you can see that he's looking strong and looking back to himself. Not looking like an old beat up man like he was for a minute.